Welcome to the show. How's everybody doing? Look at you guys waiting for me in the chat. I love it. Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Stuart Davis, your humble host here at a Flawed Man of God, a little channel I've created on YouTube. This little place where you can come as members of the faith, both long serving and well educated, and those who are the noobs, the novices, or the folks just interested, dipping their toes in water, and everybody in between. That's what this channel is for. A place for us to get together, have fun, and discuss issues and how issues of many types, um, and talk about how they affect us as believers, right? Things that happen in current events, things that happen all over the world, things happening right, maybe in your community or in your personal life, um, and you know, lean on each other, right? Be a community, online though it is, but be a community together, supporting each other, uh, helping each other out as God intends us to do, uh, with our brothers and sisters in Christ. So we are in the middle of a project that has been going on for the last few years where we are reading through the Bible, a couple chapters a night. Tonight's going to be no different. And we are in Micah as we are rounding out the end of the Old Testament. We are in the last few books, the minor prophets. I say the last few, but they are short. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It took us a while to get through the first 7 books of Genesis. It's going to take us not long to get through the last 7. And then we'll be starting off the New Testament with the Gospels, right? And I will say this, right? It has been going through the books of prophecy. There is a lot of repetitive nature in it, right? It is continual repetition, and that is partly because there is continual disobedience and sin. Not only it for Jerusalem and Judah and Israel and the Israelites, right? They're constantly, okay, yeah, we'll get better, and then they go back to their old ways. Well, we'll get better, and then they're worshiping false gods and idols again, right? It's not just them; it's us in our own lives as we also struggle with the idea of um, getting better, leaving behind sin, but still, unfortunately, at times getting caught in old and maybe some new temptations in our lives, and constantly having to fall back on that grace that God gives us. Thank you, Lord, for what He's done for us and the love that He has for us, right? But because we are continually uh, sinning, uh, because Israel was constantly sinning, that's why we see constant reminders and prophecies from the prophets. When we look through the Bible timeline, these prophets weren't all at the same time, and they weren't back to back to back. It was throughout, right? And it's not necessarily in order, right? We're in Micah. Micah's a little bit after Amos, Jonah, and Hosea, but way after Joel and Obadiah, right? And way before Nahum, Zephaniah, and Habakkuk, right? So just because just because you're hearing it doesn't mean it was a constant thing, right? And that people were getting that drum beat in their head over and over and they couldn't listen to it. No, I mean it would happen. A couple generations would go by, they'd forget, they'd need a reminder. And sometimes it would be one generation after another. But the reason you read this and the reason that you read it and stick with it is that it's good. to be reminded of what we're getting ready to pick up with the Gospels, right? The Israelites are sinning and sinning and sinning, and God is continually forgiving them. And so it's getting to a point, and God is doing this through these prophets, warning them there's a reckoning coming. There's going to be a time where the chickens are coming home to roost, right? You can't continue along this path. I'm going to have to I'm going to have to go to extreme measures. And they might listen for a bit, and you might have a king like Josiah who takes it very seriously and changes things. But then in the next generation or in a generation or two, they're going back to the same thing, right? So God says this punishment is happening. It's happening. And I'm not saying that it's happening because you can't ask for forgiveness and I won't give it to you. I'm telling you that this punishment is happening because you can't help yourself. You can't stop. And it's not going to be that you're asking for forgiveness. You're not going to. And you're not going to believe that it's going to happen. Y'all don't take it seriously now. We were all shocked when we read Jonah and we heard and Nineveh was just like, what? Prophet? It's going to say something? We got to listen. Because we're so used to the Israelites and the Hebrews, who cares? Who cares what that guy says? And so there's going to be punishment. There's going to be consequences. Constant. Then we do see the other side of things. That there's going to be a reconciliation. That this time has come where we have to be punished, but it's not because God does not want us as part of him, right? He wants us to turn from our wicked ways and seek him out. Follow him, obey him, have faith in him. Because it's not just all that stuff doesn't just equate to God. When you put him first, you also end up putting your fellow man right in your top list of priorities. And so you're not just showing faith to him, you're showing faith to the people around you that are also God's creations like you and have value like you. And it's just a cascading effect. Right? If you follow the instructions, if you believe in it in your heart, things doesn't mean life's going to be easy. But there are going to be facets of your life that do fall into place. Right? And it's worth it. It's worth it. And people do notice. You'll notice. And the reminder and the repetition, because we've been hearing it since Isaiah, over and over and over again. And we're going to hear it tonight. Screwing up. You're going to get beat down. God's going to build you back up. God's going to build back up the people who want to be a part of what he creates. They want to be a part of God. We want to have faith and love and hope in him and seek forgiveness for what we've done wrong and recognize what we've done instead of pretending that it's not a problem or that everybody else is the issue. We've got it all under control because I'm assuming, I feel comfortable assuming none of us here think that we got it all under control, though there are times where we are getting a little complacent in how things are going. But I welcome you all here to this show, to this this reading, these presentations, and in this chat. It's great having you guys here. Bear Attacks first in the chat. Hello. What's going on? Nico's here. I did not summon you. You came here of your own free will. Calvinist on noticed. Neo's here. Lovely when Neo shows up. Normally I'm late, but I guess it's my lucky day and I'm early. No. We are blessed this evening. We are blessed. All of us, not just you. Veritax is back. Matt Felty is here, and Neo made it back. It's just always good to see you guys here. We got a great chat. We got a great group of folks in the chat. You can be that same greatly appreciated chatter as well. If you have something you want to say, you have the opportunity to say it. It's small, right? Even with all these great familiar faces that I see, we're still a small group, right? You have the opportunity to make yourself heard. This chat does not scroll fast. Sometimes it won't hardly scroll at all. But what that means is if you put something in that chat box, I'm going to read it. And I do want to read it, right? That's one of the things. Sometimes I'll have a guest on and the chat will get quick and I'm not able to keep up with it. And I don't like that. I like hearing what you guys have to say. I like you guys participating. I want to know. So as we read through here, give me your thoughts. Give me your impressions. Talk to me about how you apply this in your own life. How is this? How are you absorbing this in and applying it to how you're going to be moving forward? Any of those things. Or like a lot of these folks, just drop in and say hi. Have a seat. Get comfortable because that's what this is. Very comfortable, relaxed stream. And we're going to start reading now. And this might be a comfortable stream, but there's definitely uncomfortable truths being read out because it's the Bible. It calls us out. It gives us hope and it gives us peace, but it also gives us conviction. It also calls us out, right? So it should be giving us humility. All right, so chapter 3, rulers denounced. And I said, hear now, heads of Jacob and rulers of the house of Israel. Is it not for you to know and administer justice? You who hate good and love evil, who tear the skin off my people and their flesh from their bones. You who eat the flesh of my people, strip off their skin from them, break their bones, and chop them into pieces as for the pot, like meat in a kettle. Then they will cry out to the Lord, but he will not answer them. Instead, he will even hide his face from them at that time, withholding his mercy, because they have practiced and tolerated and ignored evil acts. Whew. And so we pause there because it gets pretty graphic there. It's like, oh gosh, these guys are killing these people and cooking them up and eating them, right? And God is allowing this to happen. God is holding back his protection. And the reason his reasoning is because they've been tolerating this whole time. Right? We're talking about an Israel that is committing heinous acts, despicable acts that got Canaan kicked out of the promised land before the Israelites came in. It's ugly. So you can imagine what's going on. And if sacrifice to other gods is happening, which he makes clear in other books, do you know what that means? People are probably being sacrificed. Most notably, children are probably being sacrificed for these gods. People have watched it and let it happen. I guess it's okay. Life's comfortable and great right now. God's protecting us. We have a good thing going. I don't want to rock the boat. Right? I don't want to get in the way. People do worship gods that God has clearly told us not to, but I mean, who am I to stop them, right? We're friends with those people. Or maybe we enjoy worshiping those gods too, right? That's the what these folks are saying. That's what's going on. They've allowed the stuff to happen, maybe participated in it, maybe condone it, and God says, "No. No, no, no." There's not even it doesn't even sound like there's discord going on. Everybody is in union against this covenant that's been made with God. Like, are y'all serious? And we know God will say that because he said it to Jonah. Are you really upset over this? Does this really upset you? It'd be like, are y'all really doing this? You can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things. And that's not a saying that's just a truism for today. This is obviously a truism throughout human history and especially in the time of Israel. A literally called the promised land. They named it after your ancestor, Israel, right? And you go in there, hey, all you got to do is follow the rules. Man, I don't have to follow any rules. God's not going to do anything. Okay. And here it is. You're going to get cooked up and eaten. You're going to end up as dinner. And this might be, but the thing is, I want to say this is probably just a metaphor, but considering what they were doing at the time, I'm not necessarily sure about that. But I will say it starts happening. God, I'm not having anything to do with you guys. As we'll hear later from Paul, not casting pearls before swine. And I'm going to have to teach you guys a lesson. And that's what he said. This is going to be, I'm going to hide myself, hide my protection from you and remove it and pretend I'm not seeing it. Just same way that you pretend that you're not seeing it. Thus says the Lord concerning the false prophets who lead my people astray. When they have something good to bite with their teeth, they call out peace. But against the one who gives them nothing to eat, they declare holy war. Therefore, it will be night, tragedy for you without vision, and darkness, cataclysm for you without foresight. The sun shall go down on the false prophets, and the day shall become dark and black over them. The seers shall be ashamed, and the diviners discredited and embarrassed. Indeed, they shall all cover their mouths in shame, because there is no answer from God. But in fact, I am filled with power, with the Spirit of the Lord, and with justice and might, to declare to Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. Now hear this, you heads of the house of Jacob and rulers of the house of Israel, who hate and reject justice and twist everything that is straight, who build Zion with blood and extortion and murder, and Jerusalem with violent injustice. Her leaders pronounce judgment for a bribe, her priests teach for a fee, and her prophets foretell for money. Yet they lean on the Lord, saying, is not the Lord among us? No tragedy or distress will come on us. Therefore, on account of you, Zion shall be plowed like a field. Jerusalem shall become a heap of ruins, and the mountain of the house of the Lord shall become like a densely wooded hill. End chapter. Feels like the prosperity gospel a little bit, is being called out, but really this is we're really dealing with truly evil and off the reservation priests. But it's been normalized. It has become par for the course. This is the standard, especially in Israel. Again, remember, once Israel splits into the two nations, Israel the Israel that remains never gets back in God's good graces. They go down and they stay down. And they kick out many, if not all, of the good priests. And if I recall correctly, kill a fair amount of them as well. So we're not just talking about like the folks who are, you know, we're talking about greed is guiding them. This is something different. This is truly demonic. And the way that Kenneth Copeland looks, right? But he said, he goes, when they have something good, because it's convenient, right? When they're the people who are flattering them, the people who or the factions that are friendly with them, they're like, oh yeah, peace. We want peace with these people. But if they're getting nothing out of a faction, it's like, no, war. And he says holy war. Now I don't know if that means the fervor or if they're actually calling it a war against God, right? Or that they are doing God's will. Should be a better way for me to put that. It says no. Darkness and disaster await you. Right? False prophets. Because the convenience of those prophecies, right, is coming from somewhere. Bribes, desire for power, somebody else that they like getting what they want. All sorts of motivators, none of them being obedience. This is corruption at some of the most base level, right? He might even give our guys in Washington a run for their money. that remember that time when Israel was basically a banana republic. It feels like that. It feels like that when you read through there. But he said, the seers shall be ashamed. Diviners embarrassed. Because they're not actually getting spoken to by God. And maybe at one point, these seers and diviners were prophets and God was speaking to them. I don't know. Or there was some credibility they had, but it will be removed because of how they've behaved. And I like this from Micah. Not me. I've actually got the mission, right? And you don't see me taking bribes and doing any of that nonsense. What I'm doing is speaking against the corruption. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm not smoothing it over. I'm giving you the real truth. I'm letting you know exactly how it is. Because God cares and I care. Because if I can't tell you what you're doing wrong, or if I won't, I guess it's a better worded this way. If I won't tell you what you're doing wrong, do I care about you at all? Right? And yes, some people argue, some people ridicule because they really do have an axe to grind against the person, or they just truly get enjoyment out of it. But sometimes it's meant because there really is a problem. And you really are leading people astray. And you really are dooming yourself. And they want you to stop. Well, you don't know that person. Yeah, okay. If a stranger was trying to drive off a cliff, or I'm sorry, let's do it easier. If a stranger was trying to jump off of a cliff, would I not try to stop them? Or would I go, well, I don't know what's going on, right? I don't know their story, right? Who am I to judge, right? You want to do that, then you can be Canada. In fact, I'm not going to go down I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But this is Micah. I'm here bringing you the truth. I'm bringing you this truth because God has given it to me, because God cares, because God wants you to stop. He gave it to me just like he gave. Let me go back to the timeline of who came before you. Just like he gave it to Amos. Of course, Amos was talking about Edom. Just like he was talking to Hosea. Just like he was talking to Joel. Just like he talked about Obadiah. Just like Isaiah's talking right now. Right? It's important. It's important you hear. And it's important it's said. Not just for you, not just for your community and all the other Israelites that are getting the same warning, but it's also important that everybody looking back on this can see God warned them. God told them what was going to happen. And we've got a nice, neat little timeline when we know folks who watch this show, we know and read the Bible, right? From the moment God makes that covenant with Abraham, and especially when he's fulfilling things with Moses, you understand this is the expectation, right? And there are great rewards for this covenant. And I really want to just shower you with blessings. But we have some rules. And from there, all the way to Jeremiah and Ezekiel, during and after Babylon wrecking them, to say, you're doing the wrong thing. Turn around, turn back. God warned them. And God, through that, God is warning us as well, both in our own personal lives individually, in our families, in our friend group, in our churches, but also our own cultures and societies. And if Israel doesn't teach us one thing, don't trust the society. The society is not going to set you up for success. Society is craven and fickle and ready to capitulate the moment that any type of discomfort shows itself. It's all about pride and hedonism, right? That's what we're worrying about. And that's what God says. We're going to listen up. And Micah says this. Pronounce judgment for a bribe. Priests teach for a fee. Prophets for money. And they all go, but I just serve the Lord. You're not serving anybody else but those other masters. Yourself. Money. Lust. False idols. Do be. Footnotes here, city of Zion, city of David, was the elevated area between Tyropion and between the Tyropion and Kidron valleys, southeastern area of Jerusalem during the time of Jesus. The city was the capital of Israel, the United Kingdom, during the reigns of David and Solomon, and the site of Solomon's temple. In 586 BC, Jerusalem, including Solomon's temple, was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, ruler of Babylon, the Chaldean dynasty. Many years after Micah tells him that's what's going to happen, right? Because Micah's happening around 725, right? A little over 150 years later, it happens. Who would have thought? The Bible makes predictions that come true? What? What? And here we go. Got the shot and the chaser. Chapter 4, Peaceful Latter Days. But it shall come about in the last days that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established as the highest and chief of the mountains. It shall be above the hills, and peoples shall flow like a river to it. And many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us about his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For the law shall go forward from Zion, and the word of the Lord in revelation about him and his truth from Jerusalem. And he will judge between many peoples and render decisions for strong and distant nations. Then they shall hammer their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, so that the implements of war may become the tools of agriculture. Nations shall not lift up sword against nation, nor shall they ever again train for war. Each of them shall sit in security and peace under his vine and under his fig tree, with no one to make them afraid. For the moment, or from the mouth of the omnipotent Lord of hosts has spoken it. For all the peoples now walk, each in the name of his God, in a transient relationship. As for us, we shall walk securely in the name of the Lord, our true God, forever and ever. In that day, says the Lord, I shall assemble the lame and gather the outcasts from foreign captivity, even those whom I have caused pain. I shall make the lame a godly remnant, and the outcasts a strong nation. And the Lord shall reign over them in Mount Zion from this time on and forever. As for you, Jerusalem, tower of the flock of Israel, hill and stronghold of the daughter of Zion, Jerusalem's inhabitants, to you the former dominion shall come, the kingdom of the daughter of Jerusalem, when the Messiah reigns in Jerusalem, and the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. Now, why do you cry out loudly? Is there no king among you? Has your counselor perished? For agony has gripped you like a woman in childbirth. Writhe in pain and labor to give birth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in childbirth. For now you shall go out of the city, live in the field, and go to Babylon. There you will be rescued. There the Lord shall redeem you from the hand of your enemies. Now many conquering nations are assembled against you, who say, Let her be profaned through Gentile presence in the temple's destruction, and let our eyes gaze on and gloat over Zion. But they, the Gentile nations, do not know the thoughts of the Lord, nor do they understand his purpose and plan. For he has gathered them, Gentiles, like sheaves to the threshing floor for destruction. Arise and thresh, O daughters of Zion, for I'll make your horn iron, and I will make your hooves bronze, that you may beat many peoples in peace, trampling down your enemies, that you may devote to the Lord their unjust gain, pagan possessions, and their wealth to the Lord of all the earth. There's some themes I pick up through here. I don't know if you guys do it as well, but let's talk about it, right? Talk about, as Veritex loves to point out. But again, it's in the last days, surprisingly enough, right? God's going to reign supreme. We know this as Christians, right? This war is already won. We're just fighting the battles. But the mark of victory happened, or the sign the victory happened, was the moment Christ raised from the dead, right? That was it, right? That's how we knew. Now, should we have always just assumed? Yeah. Yeah. God is a God of good, right? He's righteous, right? His way, the way is set in a way. He's not going to be overthrown by one of his lackeys, right? What the Lord has created, he has created that's good. What's going on, Matt Felt? Wait, I already said good, Matt. Say hi to Matt Felty. How's it going, Jenny? Glad to have you here. He's not. What he created here is good, right? The intention there. It's always good. That side is always going to win in the end. And that's just the way it is. Right? But so, this should not come to a surprise to anybody. And here's the other: that many nations shall come up and say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord." And I will say, the rise of many Western civilizations came up, including our own, came up with a desire to do God's will and be a godly nation. And we have all, unfortunately, at different paces and at different times, started to fall short of that. And some of us have completely abandoned it. But I see that and I was like, man, I've seen this before. People, nations uniting under a banner meant to be the Lord's, right? The spread of Christianity, and we'll get back to that in a second. He will judge between many peoples and render decisions for strong and distant nations. And he's talking about peace. There's going to be peace in the end. We're not going to need it, right? And the nations will all get along. However that's supposed to work, right? Not saying that they can't, but however things will be organized. But peace and security, because our King, and I guess I can skip down there when he goes, "Why do you cry so loudly? Is there no king among you? Has your counselor perished?" Yeah, our worldly leadership has. Our worldly leadership has failed us. But when we're talking about nations existing in peace and unity and unafraid of outsiders or unafraid of conflict or civil war or any of that stuff, who's king? Who's in charge? It's God, right? The same way we forgot at the beginning of Samuel, books of Samuel, the understanding, God, give us a king. Give us a king. You already have one. And the recognition of that goes a long way. Make the lame a godly remnant and the outcast a strong nation. The Lord shall reign over them in Mount Zion from this time on and forever. I mean, I could draw parallels on the early church. They were outcasts, right? They were hunted. Right? Many of them were poor, not all of them. They became a strong nation. Maybe I'm reading that part wrong, but this is just kind of themes that pick up that I think about. To you, the former dominion shall come, the kingdom of the daughter of Jerusalem, when the Messiah reigns in Jerusalem, and the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. Times of the Gentiles. Now, it could be talking about the doom of the pagan nations or the salvation of the Gentile nations as we come to Christ. Right? Why do you cry wildly? You shouldn't be crying. You shouldn't be upset that you have no earthly counselor or king. You have the Lord. You have his presence. You have his judgment. You have his blessing. But instead, you're writhing in pain, right? And maybe you go and leave God altogether. Maybe you go and join all those folks that are doing better. And I think that that's what Israel does, right? There's some deep down insecurity that drives them out and to ally themselves with nations that aren't interested in learning about God, aren't interested in worshiping God, obeying him, or having anything to do with him. That's the Jewish God. That's their God, right? Sun God, strong. Okay. Sure, buddy. And what has the sun God actually done for you? Nothing. And here is verse 12 is a very Job comment. But they, Gentile nations, do not know the thoughts of the Lord, nor do they understand his purpose and plan. And it's very much God has his own way of handling things. Now, he certainly has left clues, and I use the term clues loosely because it's very overt telling him through these prophecies that these nations are going to be destroyed, right? And that's why I lean more towards the times that the Gentiles are fulfilled is more the Gentile nations are destroyed, right? Paganism is conquered. And God telling them, don't be afraid. This is how we close out. God telling them, don't be afraid. I will empower you. I will bless you. Right? Make your horn iron and your hooves bronze, that you may beat many people in pieces. Yeah. There's a reckoning at the beginning with punishment and at the end with restoration. And you will give everything that you give to them. You take from your enemies, you give it to God. That you may devote to the Lord their unjust gain, pagan possessions, and their wealth to the Lord of all the earth. End chapter. So that's our reading tonight. And I think that that's kind of the point. Like I said before, we forget, God warns us, God throws a prophecy in there. Prophecy is going to come true. People are supposed to know that. Hey, didn't Micah say that was going to happen? Why don't they listen? Seems very easy. But just think, when something seems like it's very easy, try to apply it to try to find a way in your own life where you were being like that. Where you're acting immature or mature in your faith. Right? Find a time where you're not taking your actions seriously enough. And you're not really repentant, or where you're making excuses. Because we've heard it from them. We've heard it from people around us. And I'm certain that, like me, you've heard it come out of your own mouth. So, all right, that's a wrap, folks. That's our viewing tonight. So, Jenny ELJ, Matt Felty, Neo Rice, Veritax, Nico. Thanks for being in the chat, folks. Always glad to see you guys. Thanks for stopping by, even if it's just to check in and say, hey, I'm watching. Hey, I'm having a good time. Hey, I need some prayers. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Don't feel insecure about doing it. Don't feel like you're a bother on anybody. And if you feel like somebody is bothering you about this stuff, you need to step back and reevaluate things. So, thank you guys. You guys in particular, the chat. Y'all are awesome. To the guys who are in listening, viewing, watching, doing whatever, right? Thank you. Thank you for watching. I want you to know the chat's open. It's an invitation and an encouragement. But I understand. You might not be able to, might not want to, but it's there all the same. And either way, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you found a place that you can come back to and appreciate it. Awesome. And replay crew. You better be listening to this on Tuesday now that you got the Monday out of the way. First off, thank you for watching. Sorry I missed you, and I hope to see you again sometime soon, live. Folks, I'm going to start setting up streams in a little bit. Next stream is going to be Wednesday, then Friday. That's the plan tonight, or that's the plan for this week. We'll go from there. All you guys and gals, love y'all. Have a good night, and God bless.